they're just so much bigger than we are up front, similar to Michigan. And here we are acting up right away. Less than a minute into the game, we're on the officials. But obviously we know this is going to be tough. We know that they're going to be pressing the entire game. First time we played them, we did a real good job handling their pressure. And this was just a little bit of a half-court thing. We've run this a couple of times for Nishan. You know, it's been very well documented that Nishan has played exceptionally well for us as of late. A lot of times we try to screen for Mike on the top. We get Mike to not want to settle for threes sometimes, but right there he makes a nice three. And we talk all the times about how difficult it is to guard Mike at the top of the circle. Real good passing here. We go inside to Jason, back out to Scooney. One more pass to Boban. Nice play by Boban, not thinking about just jacking up a three, but taking it to the basket. Nice penetration basket off the glass. The game against Iowa, you know, it's going to be an up-tempo game. We want to push it. They want to push it. A lot of times we try to screen for Scooney in the middle of the floor in transition as the defense starts backing up. Ken does a real nice job of screening for Scooney, and Scooney's very tough when he gets those high screens. At the end of the half, we trapped a little bit. We don't want them holding for the last shot. They do a good job. They did shoot the ball a little bit quicker, but they did score. And we come down, we get an open shot at the end of the half and do not score. But we're thinking that we're in pretty good shape right here. I thought Scooney did a great job. When you look at how they guard him on the inbounds pass, it's very difficult with a 6'11 guy on a 5'11 guy. That was one of the few turnovers he had against the pressure. Dean Oliver, a real good guard, penetrating, kicking to the corner. Here you can see an example of Koch being on Scooney a little bit. Just really hard to get the ball in bounds. But again, we screen for Scooney. They come out and do a good job. Guy Rucker comes out and blocks the shot. Tremendous play by Jason, going after the loose ball, finding Michael under the basket. And we turn into a semi-block deflection of a shot into Jason getting a real easy basket for Michael. You know, we try to clear out for Michael, very explosive player. I continue to maintain he's as good as you have in the country inside the foul line. A real good basket by Mike there. Terrific individual ball handling move by Scooney. These are things that Scooney works on every day. Gets the defender to back up a little bit, buries a three. And now they're playing zone. They played a lot of zone. We run a little wrinkle for Scooney, just a screen at the top. Obviously, we talked about Scooney having a terrific second half. It really carries us down the stretch. Another indication of them just playing zone, backing up. And here's Scooney just pulling up before he even gets to the defense. And typical of a lunatic coach saying, Scooney, what are you doing? Oh my God, great shot. And it turns out to be a good play. But again, we spread the floor for Michael. Very difficult for smaller guards to guard Michael in around the foul line area. Just backing his man down, he gets a 12-foot jumper in the lane. I think that that's something that it's really hard to guard Michael in that regard. We try to get Michael isolated up here. They shifted into a triangle and two defense in that possession. We thought that we were prepared for it. When teams do that against us, we think we have guys that can make open threes. Certainly Nishan gets a good look. Again, isolating Michael against a smaller guard. Just shoots right over Oliver. He had 4 fouls. We knew he didn't want to foul, and we just try to exploit that matchup. And as you can see, we feel good up being up 5. This was not a good thing for us. Scooney did not block out on a free throw right there. And this is just a lot of pushing and shoving underneath the basket. Their size was a major factor. Ken Johnson being out of the game in fouls. Ken Johnson does a great job here in screening the wing. Michael penetration, gets the ball to Scooney. We're up 2. That basket makes it 5, and we feel real good right now. They come down, however, and they set a little pick and roll screen and pop, we call it, for a big guy, and they opt to have Jake shoot a 3. Typically, you would think that would be good for us. He nails it. We're up by 2. They start to foul, and from a coaching standpoint, you don't like to have anybody other than Scooney with the ball at the end. He makes all of his free throws down the stretch, and this turns out to be a terrific win for us, turning the tide against what they were able to do to us in Columbus. So when you go to Iowa and you win a game there, not easy to win there. And
20th win of the season. Also, your road record would be in the win column then, for sure.
All nice little milestones. You know, it seems like every time we win another game, there's always something else that you've been able to accomplish. So, and it was a great win. You know, when you think in terms of only the 3rd time, I guess, in 26 games that Ohio State has won there, obviously it becomes a significant win.
Big time stuff. To Assembly Hall we will go and check out the highlights from this game, and packed house as always. You get there.
As you can see, the place is loaded with red, and with our uniforms, we kind of play into it. We get isolated with Michael. You know, one of the things Indiana likes to do is step in and take charges and sometimes take some flops on defense, but Michael really took advantage of that and got a rebound dunk. We got a great contribution from George Reese, a terrific low post move here. George was a real factor off the bench, and he kept us going in that first half, being able to score some points for us. We were real happy with our free throw shooting, 22 out of 28 for the game. First time all season long that we shot very well. Michael was 10 for 12. And when Michael can score from the free throw line, he's harder to guard. Nice play by George, trying to take his man, finding Ken Johnson. Ken also was a big factor in the game. But you're not going to keep these guys down too long. We had a 12-point lead in the first half. At this point, when they scored and it cut the lead to 1, that place erupted. It was as loud as I've ever experienced in an away environment. But we get out Michael isolated, and as we talk almost every time we look at his highlights, very, very effective player going to the basket. And that was the lead at halftime, even though we gave up a 12-point lead. Being up 3 at halftime, I thought in Bloomington was real good for us. We started pressing again in the second half. Nice steal by Jason. Fortunately, a no call on a flop defensively. And Jason takes it to the basket and scores a nice basket off a steal. They're surprisingly very good in transition. We did not do a good job of getting back here. I think there were 16 lead changes throughout this game. Very, very close game throughout. Michael, again, aggressively going to the basket. George staying on the glass. George continued his good play into the second half, and a three-point opportunity for George. Terrific individual one-on-one move by Scooney. Again, we're down by 1. It seemed like they would be up, we'd score, take the lead, they'd take the lead, and what have you. Again, we get Michael isolated. They double-team Michael on the top. These are some of the things that we work on in practice. We anticipate things like that happening. Nishawn makes a big three for us. Michael does a nice job by finding Nishawn, which pinch screen the wing. Michael takes the ball to the basket. A little bit surprised that there's no foul there. A.J. Guyton, very difficult guy to play in the open floor. We thought that that was a pretty good block. Obviously, Jason did also, but they called goaltending. Now the game is winding down. We tried to isolate Scooney and Michael, and I still think that Scooney is every bit as good as anybody one-on-one at the top. He makes a little floater. Ken Johnson out of the game. We're playing with Jason and John at the 4 and the 5. We're 6'5" and 6'5", and they just really started to exploit the mismatches inside because they were much bigger. We run a little wrinkle here for Scooney. We're down 4. There was a timeout. We set this up in the timeout. Big basket by Scooney. If he misses that and they score, maybe it's 6, maybe it's 7, but now it's 1 and we're still in the picture. You love having Scooney on the foul line at the end of the game. He makes these free throws, and we're up by 1, obviously, with 2 change to go. Real good defensive stop. Nishawn did a nice job of overplaying. Down by 1, less than a minute to go. Scooney comes in, gets fouled, and Scooney, I believe, makes them both. We're up by 1. Brian Brown now goes in the game. I thought Brian did a great job guarding the ball. Guyton, we felt, was going to try to take the shot. Ken does a real good job of rebounding, getting rid of the ball to Scooney. And as you can see, we're up by 2. They call timeout, and this is the possession of the game. Just watch our guys defensively. We are all over the ball. Jason Singleton does a great job of hedging a screen. They bring the ball back. They come off another screen. Good pressure on the ball. Scooney jumps out right here and switches onto Recker. They really don't have a whole lot going. And a good job by Michael getting his hands up and jumping back. Lewis jumps into him. There's a lot of controversy as to whether or not that was a foul. But I think in a situation like that, when it's really not a good attempt at a basket, as you can see, there's a happy coaching staff right there. But when there's really not a good attempt at a basket, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to have an official call a foul on a play like that. That was not a real good attempt. If they call a foul right there, they're bailing a bad shot out, and I think you need to have the players put the ball in the basket or not. So